Good morning, Possum Patty here, and I'm nature journaling. This is March 27th, and the gray morning skies are starting to clear. The temperature is supposed to go up to 60 today. When I woke up this morning, I was thinking about the phases of the moon and wondering when the first quarter was going to happen. When I looked up the phases of the moon for March, I noted that the first quarter doesn't happen until April 1st. But right now, we're in a period of waxing moon. During this time, you should take the energy that you gathered up from the new moon and plant your intentions and desires. If you look in an old farmer's almanac, you'll see that the waxing moon is the best time to plant annuals and fruits and veggies that bear crops above the ground. The other thing that was on my mind this morning was the deer that I saw last night from the kitchen window. Last night around 9, I came to the kitchen sink to get a glass of water, and I noticed that the motion sensor floodlight on the little shed in the backyard had come on. When I looked out the window, there was a deer silhouetted against the light. Was this the deer that had made the tracks in the backyard the other night? You can see where the deer went through. Was this the deer that left a scat in the side yard? Or was this the deer that had come during the winter to eat out of the bird feeders? I finished my little memory of the deer that I saw last night out the kitchen window. What's important in nature journaling is certainly curiosity. Watching the deer, I was thinking, is that the deer that left the footprints in the mud? Left the scat in the yard? Was that the winter bird feeders? This is my emotional response. I couldn't see her eyes, but I sensed her watching me through the window as I watched her. It's a beautiful day out. I'm going to go outside and check for some signs of spring. Today I think I'll start nature journaling out by the big sparkly rock that I was looking at yesterday. Can get a good view of the woods from here. See what catches my eye this morning. I think I'll head off into the clearing. Well, I was headed out to this clearing. I wanted to check the buds on the high bush blueberries, but I got distracted by this little plant and a blue spring azure butterfly that flew by. I'm just going to stop right here because this caught my eye. I brought my pack out with me. I brought a piece of plastic to sit on. I made my little sketch. You don't have to know what everything is. You can just sit down, admire something, sketch it, paint it in, take some notes about it, and look it up later. You certainly can't enjoy nature without being a scientist. Some notes that I took about this plant are the leaves are very smooth. And a little thick and waxy feeling. That the new leaf unfurling looks a little red compared to the older leaves. I think the oldest leaf is darker than the newer leaves. So nice out today. I decided to just sit out here on the forest floor on my piece of plastic and paint my little plant because I love the morphology of its leaf. I'm always interested in leaf colors and shapes and vein patterns. So I put that in my journal. Getting sunny. While I was painting, I looked up at the sound of a helicopter over my left shoulder, and I noted 3 turkey vultures sailing by in the March wind. Well, maybe I'll get out to the meadow tomorrow. Right now, I'm going to go inside and finish my nature journaling. Wow, what a busy day nature journaling today. After completing my thoughts for the day and remembering a memory from the night before, I headed outside to do some nature journaling. It was such a beautiful day. I was going to head out towards the clearing, but I didn't quite make it that far because I came across this little plant. I kind of remembered these leaves from last year, so I looked it up in last year's journal and found out that it was a pyrola or a shin leaf. Later on in the season, it's going to have a stalk with some flowers on it. I sat down on the forest floor and sketched the plant, made a couple of quick notes, and decided, since it was so nice out, just to sit there and go ahead and paint it while I was outside. While I was doing that, I was really excited to see a spring azure butterfly go by. I grabbed my camera to try to get a picture of it, but once I got my camera, I couldn't find it anymore. They're pretty tricky because when their wings are open, they're very visible against the forest floor, but once they close their wings, they're kind of camouflaged. While I was sitting and painting, I heard the sound of a helicopter passing by, and I just happened to glance up at the sky and saw 3 silent turkey vultures sailing past on the March wind. I made a little note here, the cleanup crew was passing by. As I was going inside, walked around the house, I noticed there were some little blackbirds in the front yard. The way the sun was shining and the distance that these birds were from me, I couldn't tell what they were at first. One was taking a bath in a puddle, and this puddle was only about a yard away from the bird bath, but he was down in the mud in the puddle. The other one was walking around. As I walked past, they flew up into a tree, and there was 3 of them, and they were sitting on a branch. I grabbed some binoculars to get a closer look, and I discovered that they were brown-headed cowbirds. The tufted titmouse that's been hanging around the bird feeders all winter flew up on a branch next to where the cowbirds were sunning themselves and scolded them. When I came inside, I finished my journal page. I looked up some information about the shin leaf, and I looked up some information about the cowbirds. Some people call these birds brood parasites because they lay their eggs in the nests of other birds. The foster parents raise the young cowbirds often at the expense of their own offspring. So these are brood parasites. And some interesting information about the shin leaf is that some members of the shin leaf family are also parasites, and they can live off the mycelium that's growing under the ground. So they can be photosynthetic, or they can be parasitically feeding off of mycelium. Had a lot of fun nature journaling today. Thanks for coming along.